Let's go to Pennsylvania, folks, where there's a strange story. A Jamaican family desperately seeks answers after their relative was shot several times during a hunting trip with co-workers. Peter Bernardo Spencer was reportedly shot at least 9 times in December. Spencer was dropped by his fiancée for a hunting trip with a colleague who reached out to him on Snapchat. A few hours later, the 29-year-old was dead. A 25-year-old man was taken into custody. 3 other individuals and multiple guns were found at the scene, but no charges have been filed. William Anderson is chair of the Allegany Democratic Black Caucus. He joins us right now. William, I'm trying to understand. He goes hunting, he ends up dead, and nothing?
Nothing. And thank you, Roland, for having me on to shed light on this situation. It's very tragic. And, as you said in your former comments, that, this is just what happens to Blacks in America. So on December 11th, Peter, he wasn't going hunting. He was going to the woods to hang out with some friends at, usually he assumed he was going to Nathan Meyer's mother's house. So his fiancée usually dropped him off at Nathan Meyer's mother's house on several occasions, usually with friends. But on this occasion, she drops him off at it was either a cabin or a mobile home in the woods of Venango County. And this was very strange to her because, it was such a desolate area that she couldn't even ping Peter's location once she dropped him off.
So is there an investigation? And who's leading the investigation?
So allegedly, the Venango County District Attorney, his name is D. Sean White. He's in charge of the investigation and has been leading the investigation since December 12th, when Peter Spencer was murdered. And also, the PA State Troopers Heritage Affairs Department, which investigates hate crimes, is also involved in the investigation. But we haven't gotten any information on what they're doing, and it's been since December 12th, and there has been no arrest, no one has been charged or anything.
Are state officials involved in this? I mean, are folks being interviewed? I mean, brother just goes out and ends up shot 9 times and dead. Has there been a ruling from the medical examiner? Have they ruled his death a homicide? Obviously. Yes,
sir. The medical examiner of Venango County ruled Peter Spencer's death a homicide almost, I think, immediately. So we, as Venango County is a small county, it's a Republican-controlled rural county in Pennsylvania, where all of the people, a lot of the insurrectionists from January 6th, this is their breeding ground. Western Pennsylvania is the breeding ground for all of these people. So we haven't gotten any cooperation, although it has been not only, declared a homicide, but they had suspects in custody that admitted to shooting him, and they were released.
Whoa. The suspects admitted to shooting him?
Yes. They said there was some type of altercation, and they shot Peter in self-defense 9 times, which in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you cannot declare self-defense. 1, if you can flee the danger, and 2, you cannot declare self-defense when you shoot someone 9 times. This young man was shot twice above his butt, 5 times in his back, once in his neck that went through his neck and broke his jaw, and once in his chest close range. And no charges have been filed against anyone since December 12th. This is outrageous.
Were all 9 shots from the same gun?
That we haven't gotten any information to be able to come to that conclusion because they aren't cooperating. They aren't giving the investigators, the attorneys, any information. They aren't giving the family any information, and they have yet to respond to our requests as the Democratic Black Caucus and the Black Political Empowerment Project for information. And the only help that we've gotten was from Chandy Chapman, our local reporter here, an African-American female on our WTA local station was the only one to even investigate this and to help shine light on this. So we just thank you for, giving us national attention so we can get justice for Peter.
Has the family had an independent autopsy done?
Yes, sir. And we not only have we had an independent autopsy done, but the autopsy was done by Dr. Cyril Wecht. And, Dr. Cyril Wecht is one of the most famous coroners in the entire world. So he completed his autopsy on January 3rd. And Dr. Wecht, in an interview on our WTAE with Chandy Chapman, told her that he'd never seen an incident like this in his entire career, when someone has been shot 9 times and shot in the back and no charges have been filed.
This is absolutely crazy. Certainly keep us abreast, William, of what happens. Stay in contact with us. We certainly want to follow this story, but you don't get shot 9 times. And again, like, what was his fingerprints on any of the weapons? How many guns were recovered? First of all, how many people were on the scene? That's just absolutely crazy.
Yes, sir. We know that there were at least four white men that were there on the scene.
Four white men on the scene with guns. There's an altercation, yes, and only one person ends up dead, and nobody else shot.
Exactly.
And they're walking around free.
Yes, sir. They weren't. I don't believe they were in custody longer than an hour. This young man is dead. His family has gone through the holidays and have to restart their life. And I just want to reiterate that this young man was not an American citizen. He had only been in this country since 2013, seeking the American dream.
Has the Jamaican embassy demanded, because, obviously he's a Jamaican national, have they demanded the federal authorities get involved?
Yes. So we had a Zoom meeting with 20 members of the Jamaican government yesterday from all over the country. And they are outraged in this. And the prime minister will be making a public statement demanding that America be held accountable for this, because America owes Jamaica a life, right? This young man was 29 years old. His future was bright. He came to this country, seeking the, Purple Mountain's majesty, amber waves of grain, all these things that our anthem, promises the world. And he came here in his life. He's been here for 8 years. And his life is over. Who has
the family hired to be their attorney?
They've hired. I don't know the attorney's name offhand, but I can get that to you. And okay, they're going to get a team. They're going to have a team of attorneys to represent him, because no one attorney is going to be able to handle this.
Got it.
Because, like I said, this is pre-Jim Crow.
Got it. William Anderson, I certainly appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Quickly, I'm gonna go to my panel here. Lauren, it's very interesting. And the reason I asked that last question, Lauren, is because whenever we have a lot of these cases, I get people, oh, there go that damn crook being Crump. He ain't never won no case. Well, people don't understand. And then I've heard people talk about Sharpton, talk about Reverend Jackson, and they go on and on and on. One of the things that people don't understand, the reasons families also hire Crump is because they also know how to bring national attention to these stories.
Oh, absolutely. It sounds a lot like the Ahmaud Arbery situation, where everything went silent. He was killed and everything went silent. And then all of a sudden the publicity that people like Ben Crump and Reverend Sharpton bring, and so many others. It really started with the black press, I think, in the Arbery case. And really Trayvon Martin as well. If you remember, that started really quiet. And then, there was...
I know it well, because I was one of the first national people to make it go national. And we could not, look, I was at CNN and couldn't get folks there to get involved with it. And we kept pushing, and then social media, it built. And so there were other, Goldie Taylor and others, there were others who were out there tweeting and pushing that whole thing. And all of a sudden, then it rose to a national level. And I'm saying that, Faraji, because I need people to understand. Unfortunately, the reality of being black in America is we have to elevate things. Frederick Douglass said, agitate, agitate, agitate. Black woman come up missing. These white folks on mainstream media ain't doing that story. Oh, but a white woman come up missing. Oh, we about to shut down the country like it's COVID to find her. And so this is the reality. We have to yell, holler, scream, kick in order to get attention. And so that's why, again, which is also why platforms like this matter, because guess what? CNN ain't talking about it. MSNBC ain't talking about it. Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBS. And then while I also tell the rest of these folk, stop listening to all these black folks who are yackers on YouTube, who are nothing but full of mess, always talking about somebody else, because they ain't spending their time talking about cases like this.
Hey, well, you know what, Brother Roland, to your point, that's exactly why we do need to constantly talk about it, especially a case like this of Peter Spencer that happened in a county in Pennsylvania that's probably, it's a very small area, very, very, just kind of like pretty much a nowhere type of space. And you got to talk about it. And you got to ask yourself, how many cases, if Peter Spencer, he certainly wasn't the first case, so it makes you wonder how many other people may have been victimized or killed in this manner, and we don't know. We just don't know what's going on with them. The family can't get any real push on finding or getting justice for these families. So these cases and these situations are happening all across the country. It's got to be raised up. And the other thing to the point about Ben Crump and others, that, look, they're going to bring a dollar sign. They're going to bankrupt the whole county. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say, okay, you say you may not think Black Lives Matter, but we do, and this is the cause. And so, if they're going to bring that publicity, they're going to bring the accountants, and they're going to force police stations and police, police stations in those small areas. They're going to force them to find the real answer. But we got to do this. I mean, seriously, if black media don't look out for black people, then what's the purpose of black media?
Greg, listen to these details here. My goodness, this is Emmett Till 2020. This is so many other cases of how black folks' lives are completely ignored. This is exactly why Black Lives Matter. That moniker just simply rose up.
It did. Black Lives Matter is a response to the foundational assertion about black life in the United States of America, and that is that there are no humans involved. Peter Spencer was lured and hunted and executed. And I think we all took note of your shock as Chairman Anderson indicated that his killers were interrogated by their brothers and released because after all, they didn't kill a human being. But I think, in my mind, as I was listening to you talk to him, as we sitting here, the word that kept coming back to me was impunity.
Come on.
They take our lives with impunity because they know that there's no price. But then the penultimate question you asked, the second to last question you asked. Now, let's set aside our brother Ben Crump and the domestic United States lawyers who will go and, like Representative Anderson, make the mistake, in my judgment, of wrapping any arguments about what should and shouldn't happen in the notion of America. We heard Chairman Anderson say he came here for the purple, for the mountain's majesty. And as you said it this week. And James Carvin let us say, I lived in Philly for 17 years. Pennsylvania is Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Alabama in between. And many times coming on that turnpike out them mountains in western Pennsylvania, yeah, that is the true face of white nationalist America. But the question you asked him about the Jamaicans, I don't think we need to slow down and consider that. The fact that they met with the Jamaicans, as a Jamaican lieutenant governor of Virginia, as Lauren has been covering that along with her comrades, she's Jamaican and she says the Second Amendment is good law and she says we should get over slavery, which she better not go to Nanny Town in Jamaica and say that because they'll run her ass out the country she was born in. But the point I'm trying to make is this: we must elevate these these executions, and not just in the United States. The thing this fracturing little settler state is afraid of is when we link arms across borders. See, the Black Star Network isn't just a U.S. network. They are now you let the Jamaicans start bringing some heat. You let this case be brought up on the floor of the United Nations. And American Negroes, y'all loosen y'all's little grip on that red, white, and blue. And understand that blackness transcends any of these fake lines on this map. Every time we've done that in this settler state, it has shaken this state to its foundations. It is why they passed Brown versus Board of Education on a 9-0 vote at the Supreme Court. It is why every form of legislation we've gotten, Martin Luther King didn't stop his analysis in Selma. He didn't stop it in Washington, D.C. He reached out over the oceans, and it is one of the reasons why in the United States Civil War, they had to settle this mess. You put this man who was executed, you make him an international cause celeb, and you bring that Jamaican heat, and then you bring CARICOM into it, and people start asking questions, you run them crazy bald heads out of town, to quote Robert Nesta Marley. These white boys rely on our fidelity to the United States of America to allow us to continue to be executed. Every time we look beyond these stupid shores, we've gotten some results. Don't disarm yourself because you think you got loyalty to a flag, because you'll lose your damn life.
I'm going to, we had, of course, when I was at TV1, we had the Jamaican ambassador to the United States on our show. I'm going to reach out to her to find out about this. Be very interested in getting her perspective. And it might mean doing a town hall in this town, reaching out to the African Americans there, putting a Robo-mobile on the road, heading to Western Pennsylvania, because certainly some attention should be cast on this particular story here. So, folks, we'll be giving y'all the updates. Again, I told y'all we ain't interested in folk who full of mess. We here to speak to the issues that involve black people.
Back to that Roland Martin unfiltered video in just one moment.
Time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared. You dig?